Good morning, Babi Active. If anybody's there, give me a little wave. I'd love to know how I sound in terms of volume and if you can see me well enough. Upstairs today. Hoping you can see the floor space when I come and sit down and my feet. Good morning, who's that watching today? It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, we're doing some Pilates today. We're doing 6 weeks to 6 months and it's week 1. So we're going back to some basics. And just bear with me when I tilt this, try and tilt this camera for you. There's a bit of a fiddle getting the right angle every time we move, but if I know that you can see and hear me clearly, it makes me feel much better. So who have we got on there today? I can see someone watching. I'm looking for comments to check out who it is. We've got a space set up. You've got your space set up in your house. I'm interested to find out how this volume is sounding and if I'm loud enough over the volume. Hello, good morning. Who's watching? Give me a wave and let me know who you are. Give me a wave. And also you can tell me how many weeks postnatal you are. That's really just a good idea so I can liaise with you a little bit clearer. Welcome to Babi Active this morning. So this is Pilates for your foundation fitness, postnatal specific, from week 6 to 6 months. So we'll be doing a combination of standing work and finishing off on the floor. I'm also going to give a little bit of mindfulness practice very early on in the next couple of minutes, and then I'm going to come back to that mindfulness practice again. So that's really an awareness practice, a breathing practice, which I know you'll find beneficial. To practice any kind of mindfulness is bliss. And then we'll have a chat later a little bit, just introducing you to a friend of mine in the corner. We'll talk a little bit on pelvic floor today and posture, because we've put a poll out in the group and it looks like you guys are interested in finding out a little bit more about that. So who's that? Hi Ellie, good morning, Borida, Sadoiti, Sadaki Bodama. So I'm going to take my socks off. When I get over here, I'm hoping that you can still see my feet. So that's what's really interesting to me, is that you can see my feet. You can see my feet and you can hear me. That's what I need to know. Ellie, just give me a shout back and let me know if you can hear me okay with this level of volume. And I'll go and get that phone and unplug it. My studio is on top of my office, so excuse me for the phone interrupting. Should we start off, shall we? I haven't had any messages there about whether or not you can hear me or not, and I'm aware of our timing, so if you can hear me, it was great to know. Let me know. We're going to press pause on the music to start with, And we're going to do a breathing practice. So let's keep to our timings. Alright, it's good morning everybody. So here, so just as you are, maybe just sitting down to start with, find a comfortable position to just have a little look at your breathing. So Pilates very much focuses on the breath and mindfulness does as well. So life is full of moments of breathing. So it's one thing that we can do to really tap into our nervous system and help us when we're in movement every day. So learning to belly breathe. So I'm just reading off a little bit of information here for you that you might find useful. So are you a belly breather or are you a chest breather? So this is something that I practice in family sessions as well. So what we're going to do is just put our hands on our body, and then we're going to take just 3 breaths, and we're going to notice which part of our body is moving with the breath. So just as you are, you may like to sigh out the exhale. Fabulous. So what we're trying to do is shift our breathing into this area. So if you've ever seen a baby breathing, then you'll notice how they breathe, and you notice that they really do breathe in the belly. It's the most natural way to breathe. It's the most relaxing and supportive way for our whole respiratory system to be. It's very, very supportive. It's a securing breath. It's a settling and grounding breath. If you tend to breathe a little bit up here, you'll probably notice that you're a little bit shorter in your breath, and that you're up here breathing a little bit, especially when you're busy or when you're trying to get a message across to somebody, or in a situation of elevated anxiety or stress. So if you could just notice that today. We're trying to get a fuller breath. Alright, so we're going to use that in maybe 1 or 2 of our stretches later on. That isn't the Pilates breath. Okay, so that's really all I wanted to do with you today. I have some notes which I can screenshot for you, maybe put into the group as well, for anybody who wants to look at this back on replay, and then you can check out exactly a little bit more detail. And there's also some reflection practice on there as well, which I'll put in for you in the group. So I hope that was useful, just that first little check in with the breath, and we'll come back to that. So we're going to stand up and warm ourselves up. So thinking about how you're coming off of the floor, you don't need any equipment to start with, but for the rest of the session you may like to have a stretchy piece of material with you, such as an exercise band, a pair of leggings, a lycra piece of material, or stocking support also works quite nice as well, stocking tights. So we're going to bring ourselves up. So we're going to think about how we are in our posture to start with. We'll put a bit of music on. So let's just find our place here. Can you hear me okay? If you can't hear me, do let me know. Think about lifting your feet up from the toes. So imagine you've got your feet flat on the floor. In your mind's eye, which you have of course, you can feel your feet flat on the floor, toes down, and then kind of lift your toes up brightly, and then put them down. And again, lift up through the toes. And again, this time lift up through the shoulders. And dropping down, lifting up through the shoulders. And dropping down. Let's just lift up through the arms and push the arms back. Lift up through the arms and push back. So just building in some body awareness here. Take your arms, open and close them, so palms coming inwards. Pay attention to the way your feet are placed on the floor. Can you feel the arches of your feet? Can you feel the back of your foot on the mat, the sides, left and right, the inside and outside of your foot? Couple of natural breaths here, one more. Fabulous. And then we're just going to move to our hips, and we're going to do some hip tilting. Pelvic tilting. So just pelvic tilt. So your pelvis, you can just tilt it like that. Yeah, 2 more. Just notice if there's any tightness anywhere, if that feels like it needs a little bit more work. Or we'll loosen that off when we go down to the floor. These are only short sessions. We're staying on this page, as you know. We're staying on this page for our little chat afterwards. So coming back to our standing position. Okay, I'm going to shift weight. Just shift weight. Notice. And you've got a good visual of me there. You can see that my shoulder is going right over the hip when I'm shifting weight. Now I'm going to try and pedal and just keep the shoulders level. So the shoulders are on top of the hip. And I'm pedaling. Nice and slow. Okay, we're going to take your right foot. So this is your right foot. It's my opposite to you, but it's your right foot. We're going to point. So just allow yourself to shift your weight into the opposite leg. So into this leg feeling strong. Soften the knee a little bit. Point, slide, point, and back. No? Try it again on the other side. Nice and easy. So shifting the weight into this leg. I'm going to do that again. Go to the other side and repeat. We're doing it again. Point and just lengthening through the spine. Let's try that again. Roll the shoulders. Starting up from this leg again. And again. Alright, so just gently tap into the floor behind you and squat. Point. Let's do it again. One more time. So I'm really trying to just steady myself and then squat. Let's see if you can feel your body getting warmer. Anywhere. Let's just squat. So the weight is in the heels. This is an easy squat. Just awareness of how your body's feeling as we begin to move. Your 6 weeks postnatal or your 20 weeks postnatal. It's all just flowing movements. Lift the arms a little bit higher for 4. 4. Keep your shoulders down in the sockets. Last one. Fabulous. And then just rotate. Got another message on the screen.
Can you feel my heartbeat?
Hi, Suin. So taking yourself around here. Noticing any sounds it may be creating from releasing in the spine. Fabulous. I'm going to do some more balance work and a little bit more coordination. Have a look. So lift arm and leg, arm and leg, then squat, then squat. So we're going opposite. Arm and leg, nice and slow. Then squat, and squat. And again. Should be a little bit of a balance challenge. Over the other side last time. Let's just squats with the shoulder rolls. Make them a little bit bigger every time. Remember, if you're feeling a little bit more energetic, you can make them really big. If you're feeling quite stiff, that feeling, changing baby posture, so you just want to open up a little bit here. I'm going to do one more. We're going to open our legs a little bit. So here, as wide as feels comfortable for you. See how you're loading the knee. Just noticing what that feels like. Feet are flat on the floor. Nice and easy. We're going to do a couple and then a few squats in between. So let's have a go. Let's do 2. And again. Then squat. 2 to the right again. Squat. 2 to the left. Last time, hopefully you're feeling a bit warmer. Keep the head and chest up for me. Big stretch, last one. Big stretch through this chest for me. Stay in the squat. And just load. Feel the loading in the knee. These areas become very heavily loaded. Of course they do in pregnancy. Of course the whole of the spine and the pelvis is loaded throughout the pregnancy. Now you don't have that same weight there. The knees can become weak during pregnancy if they weren't trained. So now we're just bringing some awareness into those muscles. We'll do 4 more. Weight into the heels. Head and chest up. Just do 1 more. Fabulous. Let's bring our feet back together. Feeling good? Yeah? Should we do a couple of calf raises here and rocking forwards and backwards? We'll start integrating some of the Pilates breath now. Alright, so we're going to inhale through the rib cage. Sense of expanding. You might want to put your tummy, hand on tummy. And then you might feel when you breathe in, you're not breathing into the belly breath like we did at the beginning. Yeah, so this one is different. This one is into the rib cage, a sense of inhaling wide. And as you exhale today, I want you to think about blowing a candle out. 2 more. Blowing the candle out, you can feel the muscles working behind your hand, hopefully. So let's add on a little bit of movement. We'll add on some movement. Roll the shoulders. We're going to add on this movement. We'll start with that one. So hands are palms facing up, elbows are squashed into the body, and we're really using the bicep. You touch your bicep and feel that to get your elbows to stay in, you have to use those muscles. Your shoulders are in their sockets, your hip is not tucked out or in, it's in a neutral position. You know that because your knees aren't locked out. So go to where you feel your base of support is good, head and chest up. So inhale to prepare, exhale. Let's do 5 more. 3. Blowing the candle out and feeling those muscles contract towards the spine. I'm just looking for you to feel that you've got good connection to your breath. I'm going to do 1 more. Relax. I want you to imagine that you've got a cushion to squeeze between your knees, and you're going to draw your legs together. Okay, so if you have got a cushion or a ball handy, this is a good time to use it. For now, for this week, we can just go with just standing and trying to work and activate our adductors by switching them on. So have a go. If you're feeling that you can coordinate upper body and lower body at the same time, have a go. If that feels too much, just stick to the legs for me. So we're going to inhale, exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, lots of concentration, 1, and relax, roll the shoulders. Let your belly come soft now. So the difference is with the Pilates breath that you're managing to keep your belly from enlarging as you do in the meditation or the relaxation. You're managing to keep a little bit of awareness as the belly comes towards the spine on the out breath. That also interacts with the pelvic floor, automatically, subconsciously works there, but we'll come to that a little bit later on in our program. So we've got 12 weeks, 12 sessions, this is the first one. Okay, hope you're feeling a bit warmed up. Should we just have a little bit of standing? If you need support any time for any of the movements, we're going to do some lunges next. You can use support, of course. So I recommend a chair, or in your room you might have the windowsill, or you might have a radiator. Thinking about what you're going to do with your lunges. So lunge, hugely effective movement. Thank you, Surin. Hugely effective movement that you have with your lunges, functional movement. So as a functional trainer, I do my best working in Pilates and rehabilitation to give movements that make our bodies more independent, more useful to us. So the lunge, hugely effective. So when we step forward, what we want to do is just practice that. We'll use the breath in a moment. So just get the mechanical movements right. So we're lunging forward, into heel striking into the floor. So that's really key, because if you're coming into your toes, then your heels are slightly off the floor. You're putting more pressure through the front of the knee. And every day when you walk up the stairs, you're effectively taking into a lunge. You're going to go into a climbing position, similar to a lunge. Both legs are bent. You're transferring weight from one leg to the other. Single leg squat, you might call it. But here, you're probably putting the rubbish in the bin, or putting something underneath the buggy. So we're going to make sure that we have got the ability to do that in our training for our 12 weeks. So we've done the movements. Should we just do 6 each leg? If you're feeling unsteady, support please, or hands on hips is very good, because it helps your proprioception. I may have said that wrong. And then what you're doing is lengthening through the spine. So let's just take the in-breath, push back, blow out the candle. Now my knees aren't going to 90 degrees, well they might do, but yours definitely don't have to. 3 more each leg. Blow the candle on the way back. Just try it, 2 more. Keep your head and chest up for me. Focus on that heel strike. Last one. Fabulous. Notice if your heart rate is up or down. If you feel a bit puffed already, if your legs feel quite heavy, just have a little march through like this, so you can keep that flow and that rhythm. Take your arms. Inhale. Going quite fast, so I'm going to slow this down. I'm going to do 3 with you. Let's try it with that full breath. So we go. Blow that candle out. Drop those shoulders down. Squeeze shoulder blades here. Last one. How's that feel? With the breath, is that feeling good for you? If you're feeling like you're ready to coordinate a little bit more on these lunges, I'll do these face on to you. We're going to do those 6 again. If you want to, if you can feel like you can coordinate this movement with a lunge, if you feel steady enough for that today, try it. If it feels you need to be here, you're going to go here. So depending on where you are in your balance and in your coordination today. If you've got a lot on your head, if you've been up all night feeding, changing, you're going to find these moves a little bit challenging in terms of the cognitive ability to coordinate the movements, just like when I just tried to speak there and I got a bit discombobulated, depending on how you are in your position as you find yourself today. All right, so 6 each leg. I'm going to take the hands on hips, but you can go if you want to. Okay, so I'm going to take myself here and just stay with the very beginners. Here we go. This is 12. 5. Try and get some control in the body. 2. I've done an extra one here. Wiggle those hips. Have those legs out. Doing fantastic. Let's have a big stretch out here. So we've covered 2 moves that we're going to be working with every week. We're adapting those as we move along. We've done the dumb waiter, and we've done an adductor squeeze. So next week we'll use a cushion with those, and we'll go with the band, and then we'll work on our lunges. And then today we're practicing going down to the floor as well. So let's have a look how you're going down onto the floor. So some mums are practicing already. They're able to come down here with support. They're onto their toes. They're able to stay here and relax that pelvic floor. So letting the pelvic floor drop and just feeling how supportive that feels, or maybe it doesn't. Letting it go. Those muscles can become really tight from all the overactive squeezing that we can do when we do pelvic training. So it's just having an ability to, an awareness to know when we're stressed, that indicates very much into our pelvic floors. So from here you can come down onto your knees, and then I'm going to go straight to seated trunk rotation. Yeah, so sitting here at the edge. What I would advise you to do if you've had any hip girdle pain, or you're really feeling tight in your hips, is to prop yourself up onto a cushion or the edge of a blanket, and that's going to elevate your hips up. So you don't have to have your legs really, really wide on this. You see my feet? Hopefully you can. We're going to just do a small rotation here. Check your posture. As the chest is lifted, but your rib cage isn't stuck out, so there's no extension in the spine, space between the ears and the shoulders. Sitting up brightly as you can, I want you to feel with your fingers and your hand the bottom bones. So you're actually sitting on these bones. Those are the bony bits that you're sitting on at the moment, so they're called your ischium bones. So what I want you to do is just rock side to side on those, and notice when you take the flesh away from them, it props you up, so your sacrum, it feels more aligned, instead of sitting like that, which is an exaggeration, sort of sitting like that, you're sitting like that, so you're sitting on them. You know when you get there, when you feel it's right. Lifting up through the chest, pelvic tilt is forward and back to find neutral, and this is all about your rotation here. So as I'm relaxed here, I'm going to inhale. You can put your hands on your chest if you like, and you're going to turn and come back. So again, this is for people who don't have any indication of unhealed wounds, scar tissue that's had an infection, diastasis recti, any uncomfortable pain during the movements we've done so far. These are all the awareness points which you would not be participating in the session if you had any of those. If you've had any of those concerns during our session so far, please stop. So from here, I'm noticing I can lift my chest up. I'm going to inhale and then turn to exhale over there. Inhale. And if I look at my shoulders, and the placement of my hands across my sternum, I'm just aiming to get this position, if you could draw a line between there, in line with my foot. Pain-free. So I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm just drawing myself across, so the rotation is allowing me to line up this cross with my foot. Let's do 4 more. Carry on if you're already going. Inhale to return. Let's do 2 more. Drop those shoulders. Feel the body working. Last one. Noticing. So just noticing here, lifting the chest. Notice that your shoulders are over your pelvis in this position. It's going to give you a good indication of when you turn that your leg is kind of directing from your heart space forward. So I'm going to do that again. You can put your hands on your legs, or you can put them tent peg behind you, lift the chest and just rotate. Notice that you won't get as much rotation, but just feel that pulling across the body, or your muscles in the back are working, your body's working. Let's do 3. Roll the shoulders, lift the chest, inhale. Exhale. Awareness of what's happening maybe to the pelvic floor here. Go to the other side. Keeping your shoulders down, noticing any tension building, try to release that tension. Hands lightly resting on the earth. Last one. Neck and spine coming into that rotation. I hope that feels good. So we're touching on that exercise. That's the saw from Pilates. Bring your feet together and then just see if you can lift your feet off the floor. And then put them down again. One more time. Lift them off the floor. And then drop them down. So we're going to go straight down onto our backs. We're going to use the band for this next stretch, and we're also going to do a leg slide as well. So bring yourself, rolling over is still good in your early postnatal stage. So if you've got any discomfort across the tummy, I would avoid rolling up into forward flexion. I would always advise rolling over to your side, just like you did when you were pregnant, and then coming up to seated that way. So find that way is comfortable for you. So if you're going to make your way down to the floor for this one, have your bands handy. We'll do a leg slide, so make sure you've got enough room to slide your leg forward and back. So I'll have to move Jenny that way. So here, just taking yourself back with kindness. Hopefully you can still see me. So we're bending the legs. Feel your pelvis. Put your hands on top of that iliac crest. So those very big bony protruding bones here. So you can really locate your hips, your pubic bone. Have a little palpation around here. Palpitations. Palpate around here. Just feel what feels your body today. Does it feel soft? Does it feel bruised? Does it feel... How does it feel? Does it feel good? So from here, we're going to slide that leg down. So this knee, both knees are like torches on top of the knee, so they're facing directly to the ceiling. My shoulder blades, my subscapular bones are just separated onto the earth, and my chest is lifted, but not to the point of extension. So there's a natural curve in my spine here. Well, there may not be for you, but we have natural curves in our spine, and this is one of them that may feel that there's an awareness there. So tilt the pelvis forward and back, and just notice where you feel that you're pulling and tugging in one direction to bring you into this neutral position. So you're not pelvic tilting. It's a bit like cat-cow. And just notice that with the pelvic tilt that you're not lying in a permanently lifted, tilted position for your pelvis, or holding on anywhere to get you in this position. Particularly if you're tight, you may want to just start off by bringing the knee onto the chest and loosen any of that. So maybe just have a go at that. So we're going here, and then we're going to take ourselves down. We're almost at the end of the session now. So we're going to slide down today. So I want you to just feel from your hip bones here, and then just feel across, maybe two fingers in, or length of your fingers, and just rest your hands there so you can feel the muscles working here. So we're going to inhale, exhale, and just notice around the area where you can feel your body moving. And in deep muscles are engaging. Inhale through, exhale, slide. You can do this the other way in terms of breath pattern. I'm going to do it like this today. Just awareness of here, keeping your pelvis level. One set of 6 on the other side. So preparing ourselves with the breath in and out and in and out, keeping that torchlight shining on the other leg, so keeping your pelvis level. And think about blowing the candle, inhaling here, exhaling here. Just notice where you feel any tugging. It's down below the fatty tissue, isn't it? All the muscles are underneath. The deep muscles that we're working. We're not working on the superficial muscles. We're not working on where the six-pack was, regardless of if you had a C-section or a vaginal delivery. We're working the muscles underneath. I'm going to do 2 more. I'm looking for feeling those muscles really responding to my extension, this leg extending away. Become familiar with your body. And bring that down. Very, very comfortable as you're lying here. Take your hips side to side with a swish swish. Just as far as feels comfortable to you. Particularly if you've got a scar here, it might feel quite strong. So you can keep that in more of a narrow position with the knees. If you feel you've got more range, take more range. We're going to take our hands by our sides for this next one. Take your hands by your sides and then just dropping down, if you can, one leg out to the side. Try and keep this knee pointing to the ceiling. Bring that leg up. We're not doing this using the breath, we're just using body awareness today. If you naturally know the Pilates breath, I want you to work with an inhale here and an exhale here. So if you have any pelvic girdle pain before, this is going to feel really strong. So my advice for you today would just be to drop the leg to about 25% of that range. You'll know if you've gone too far. This is really going to work the buttocks. Buttocks can get weak. Buttock strength is correlated to lots of back injuries. Weak buttock muscles, gluteus muscles, buttock strength helps with back pain. Last one. And then bring the knees onto the chest. Have a little rotation of ankle. We're doing great. What we're going to do now is get our band handy. So grab a band. If you feel like you might need a body stretch there, actually, if you haven't had a body stretch all day, that's a lovely thing to do. So take your arms as far away from your body as you can, lengthen through the spine. Can you see me in that position? I hope you can. And then find yourself with one leg bent. So perhaps bend, pick a leg. This is my right leg bent. My left leg's going to come onto my chest. I'm going to hoop over my stretchy material, and I'm going to use my arms and my leg to just find a stretch. So look for the stretch. The other foot stays flat on the floor. I'm trying to encourage your chin to be neutral here, so you're not coming back into this position, lifting the neck, which is an indication that the hamstring stretch is too strong. So if you find that you're going like that straight away, it's because all of the fascia is pulling you through here, through the spine, then pulling the fascia around the neck and the upper body to force your, kind of like when you pull a thread through a piece of material, to force some slack somewhere to give you that extra. So just notice that you can feel that that's enough for you today. And we're just going to take 2 breaths. This is not Pilates breath. Find the belly breath. If it feels good, we'll take a little circle one way and then the other. And then you can swap legs either by bringing that leg down onto the floor. If you haven't got any discomfort in your back and you feel quite steady, you could take your second foot, pop it in, and then check your posture again. So here I have quite a long length, so I'm managing to keep my elbows on the floor, which is keeping my shoulders in a really relaxed position, so I can feel my connection to the mat space. I can feel the shoulders connected and the hips are connected as well. I'm not pelvic tilting. I'm in a neutral position through my pelvis, and I feel quite supported in this position. So again, I'm just looking for where my stretch is, and I'm just working into a really mild stretch. I'm going to take 2 belly breaths here. And then I'm going to do some circles. So these sessions are short exercise sessions. So I started you off very lightly today with some movements, some essential movements. Bring the band down. And so my plan is to move you on from these exercises once you've got to grips with them, and then add on to everything as we progress through the 12 weeks. So just as you are, just rolling on to the side and bringing yourself up to a seated position. So taking yourself back up, maybe to a sitting position. Remember, if you felt quite uncomfortable before sitting on the floor with your legs wide, you could sit with your legs crossed. Depends on your hips. It's not recommended if you've had that hip that pelvic girdle pain to really cross your legs. So find a position. You could also sit on the chair for the last couple of minutes. So I'm just adjusting my whole position. I would strongly recommend getting some really cozy pillows in your floor space, in your workout space, and then that's going to give you this option. So if you are crossing your legs, for example, like this is what I use sometimes to prop, you can literally use anything to make you to feel that you've got that support from your hips, and same thing about propping it underneath your bottom if that's what you need, and bearing in mind that every day is a different day, and your body responds to all the activity that it's been all the stresses and the forces that have been placed on it, as well as the mental load. So there can be just tension that needs support given any day. So it's important that you, when you're doing your exercise, that you just take an opportunity to just check in with yourself, which is actually why we're doing this breath practice today. So we'll move on to this short breath practice. So we'll come back to the belly breath practice, and just excuse me for 1 minute. Some of my notes are behind the screen. So coming back to the belly breath, today I did a mindfulness exercise with my daughter before she got out of bed, while we were preparing, and I've got these mood cards that I've been using in some of the sessions. So I just wanted to read you something about mood. Mood is one of the important topics within health and wellness. And of course in a changing circumstance, so not just our global changing circumstance, but the changing circumstances of transitioning of one to a mother of two, for example, mother of 2 to 3 and so forth, or from maiden to mother. So here, what is a mood? A mood is a temporary state of mind or feeling. It is a way to define and understand ourselves in order to assess possible future actions. It can be a result of a number of emotions that arise at certain times, or can be related to ongoing, repetitive, physical or social change. Our moods guide us about what is going on in our lives and can enable us to face challenges or predicaments. So I've just read the first little bit of instructions from this book. These are mood cards that we use in children's yoga and children's mindfulness activities. So what I got my daughter to do was pair up all the cards. There's a bunch of cards, and then I asked her to produce all the opposite cards. So what I'm going to do is screenshot some of the pairs that she made and put them in the comments, and so you can have a look. And I just thought, recognising some of these moods, what we teach our children to do is to recognise their moods, so that we can be proactive with where we are mentally and emotionally, to recognise that. So when we take our next couple of breaths, we're going to do that. We're going to look at our moods. So just randomly, are you feeling strong, disappointed? Are you feeling regretful, brave, depressed, confident, joy, bored, hurt? There's quite a lot of different random emotions in that pack. And maybe you have one particular emotion that is clear to you. So as we do our 3 inhalations and exhalations with the belly breath, have a go at just identifying your mood. And if you want, I'll pull up the card after. If it's any of those or any of them I can find in here, I'll pull it up and then I'll read to you the instruction. There's an affirmation on the back of every card, and it's got questions to ask yourself, little tools, and then affirmations at the end, and I can read that to you if you want today. So let's do the connection to breath. So just 3 breaths, very simple. Notice if you are in your chest breathing, or if you can aim for a belly breath here, looking down to the floor, easing your posture, lengthening the spine, imagining a halo that may be on top of your head, levelling off your chin, bringing a sense of ease to your moment. Inhaling when you're ready. That completes our session today. The foundations of our postnatal recovery. I trust you found that useful. Of course, happy to answer any questions about anything that we've done today. If you can, I think if you tag me, or if you do comment on here, I get a notification, and then when I'm around and about, I can come back and then address that. Or if not, someone else will. I'm going to grab my drink, and then I'm going to introduce you to my friend Jenny. So Make yourself a little bit more comfortable. Have a fidget and a stretch out if you need to, or a yawn. Keep the mood cards handy. And I will get my drink. So, it's getting a bit chilly now. Got some notes. It's a lot of information to take in when we're working on something new. So if this is all new to you, we'll just take it really, really slow and give ourselves lots of time so that by the end of the 12 weeks we've got a very good understanding of how our bodies are working, how we can improve our movements, our fitness to support the way we move every day. And then I've got a couple of specific goals that I'd like you to be able to do by the end of the 12 weeks. So if you're following from week 1, this is week 1, and then we'll move you on gradually, and then just layering in. Speaking of layers, so we're here. Have you got a flask with you? I'm encouraging people to bring a flask to their session so they're already prepared with a drink, or a drink that you know that you're really that you love, that you look forward to. If you can get that ready for this session, then you'll have that little bit of time with me to chat, and you'll have it handy. So I encourage you to have a think about a flask that you've got. We get used to, when we're mums, we get used to setting snack boxes up for our children and making sure they've got what they need. In fact, it becomes a slight obsession, doesn't it? So you're like slightly obsessing about their nutrition, their hydration, their sunscreen, you know, these kind of things. So if we can even apply 10% of that to ourselves, it will help us in so many ways. So I encourage you to think about making your flask of drink what you would like to have through your day as well, if you haven't already done that. This is a green tea, a salted green tea, caramel salted I think it is, because that's all I had left in the cupboard. So here we are. I've covered some exercises with you, I've covered the mindfulness with you, and then we've got, this is Jenny. So meet Jenny, her name's Miss Taylor, Miss Jenny Taylor. So here, some of her bits might fall out when I move her around, so I'll explain those bits as well. Some pelvis models like this have different attachments and can be shown in different ways. So I'm not going to attempt to tell you what all of this is today. I think it's useful if we just have a chat, maybe start with the bony structure and the bit that you can see, and then I'll talk you through how to find those bony parts on yourself. We'll just talk about that to keep it really simple for you. So here, the bony part, the bony pelvis itself. So this is the bit that you can feel on your hips. And then if you can actually do that whilst we're here, if you can actually lift, put your fingers on your hips and really find them, they're quite ticklish, aren't they? If you trace them all the way around the back, you'll find that you're at the back of the base of the spine, and you can come all the way around. You can feel where you get some lumpy bits, and then you can feel this crest of the pelvis here. You've got the ilium, this iliac crest is what you bring your fingers to at the front. There's a bony part at the front here at the top, so like a curve, and that's where our quadricep muscles attach down into our legs. So here is the bit that you were feeling, this bit, and then at the front here you can feel it right on top, this bit. So our legs are going to come down, ligaments and muscles are going to come down. And then at the back, so this is your pubis, where the pubic bone is, and there's a little bit of material in there that indicates that it's movable. So actually the movability of that bit is the bit that we'll talk about, why we have the relaxing hormone in our body to help us to open, to soften here and here in the sacrum, and that actual movement is 2 millimeters. That's the movability of that bit there. So you can feel that on your front body as well. And then this can see the very low parts of the base of your spine, and the sacroiliac joint here. These bits, it causes a lot of pain and discomfort for women in this area, which is really tight across the ligaments that go across here towards the base of the spine. So you've got this triangular shaped bone that sits in the middle. It's really well supported by these two kind of wings. It's a bit like a bowl, isn't it, in the position of it. And then right underneath there's the coccyx, right underneath that. So you've got this the sacrum in the middle, haven't you? And then you've got the hip bones, the ilium, and then underneath you've got the coccyx, which is movable, much more movable than in terms of, you know, it can flex a little bit, sticking out at the end. 12 to 15 millimeter movement in there. So that is, you know, hopefully not going to happen. Like if you're in a, you know, a car crash or something, like if you had a fall, there'd be quite a lot more movement there. Okay, so that's the bones of it. So pubic symphysis, pubic bone, this is your iliac crest, just say sacroiliac joint. Sacroiliac joint, I think I said that wrong, my language pronunciation is sometimes a bit off. And then in the middle here, this sacrum. Yeah, so I'm reading off my old notes there. So it's important to have a look at that in terms of how the structure of it. So what this actually does, this bony structure, along with the ligaments that are attached inside here and behind the pelvic floor, all this red bit inside is the pelvic floor and the innards, your innards, and underneath on the pelvic floor. And we'll talk about that as we go on. So all this bony structure does is transfer the weight through our bodies, through our spine, across this, like a bridge, like a suspension bridge, across this and then into each leg. So it transfers the weight of the whole of our body here and then down into our lower limbs. So they're kind of like the pelvis ligaments and through the spine, transferring weight through your pelvis, which is why it's really important to consider the impact that you would do in exercises. So you know, we're talking about things like running during pregnancy and running in postnatal recovery because of the impact placed across this area. So without going into too much depth today, I think it's probably useful just to explain. So if I take out some of the innards, well, all of them actually, you will recognise them. You've got your bladder at the front. Your anus, it's kind of going like that. This is how your innards are explain like that inside your body. So what you've got is your bladder, so the three holes would come like that, wouldn't they? Yeah. And then here going up towards your uterus, and there through your anus. So it's important to recognise that they're all bunched in there together. So if you have a consideration in pelvic health, which is, for example, constipation, which is really common during pregnancy and common postnatally as well, and this bit is not working because it's really full and stuck, this bit can put pressure and cause pain during sex. And then that can also push to the front and then make you feel as if you want to go for a wee, and then when you go for a wee there's nothing coming out. So this is important to recognise how they're all together in the space that is inside, and how they're all linked, how they're really closely linked and how they operate. So when we're lying down on our back, so that's our vertical upright position, when we're lying down on our back, they're kind of coming into that position. And then when we do a pelvic tilting, we're moving slightly in this position, which can cause release, can be either a positive feeling or it can cause discomfort, and you can see why inside. And then what we try and do is elevate the hips into a bridge, which forces the load of the pelvis backwards. So if you're lying down on a bridge, you're forcing your pelvis backward, is unloading the pelvis, which is great because you put so much pressure inside of there with being pregnant. So that's a lovely way to offload. So we can get to do our bridge today. But when we do our bridges, we'll spend time just focusing on tilting the pelvis that way, so that we can unload this area and feel like we're unloading that area. It's important to feel both the work and the unloading of those muscles as well. So I've just introduced you a little bit to the bony parts of the pelvis without going into too much detail. We'll talk about more of the pelvic floor later. There's 3 layers to the pelvic floor. Trying to make it as useful as possible for you without giving you lots of information that might not be of any use. And then we've talked a little bit about how compact things are inside and how that relates to other pelvis problems, just in terms of incontinence and constipation. So I hope that helps. Hello, Yola. And I think we're done for today. What did I need to tell you? I think that was all I wanted to tell you. Yeah, we'll talk more about that next time. So I think we're done today. What I'll do is I'll screenshot the learning to belly breathe exercises, and I'll put those in the comments today. And maybe if you did come back with what mood did you have? Did you have an instant mood? Maybe you had a mood that you recognised already through your practice of mindfulness. So you can tell me, and I'll read you the card and tell you what the affirmation for that is. Happy to do that. And then I will see you Friday. Now, Friday session is for those who've progressed on to further along in their postnatal recovery, so 6 months plus, so 6 months to 12 months postnatally. And then what I'll be doing with you is giving you work on the assumption that you're fully recovered in terms of your foundation fitness, and then we'll move you on from there. So all my sessions will use a cushion, something stretchy, obviously a safe space, and I will start introducing some weights as well. So bottles of water will do for those, or likewise if you have any home gym equipment, that will be fantastic. If you've got any questions, come back to me. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Thank you for watching. Suing, great to see you. Ellie and Yola, thank you for watching. See you.